So back in '83, George Gomez designed Spy Hunter for Bally Midway. Now Gomez is also responsible for the games Tron and Discs of Tron. And then later he got into developing pinball tables. But Spy Hunter was an arcade game where you drove a car in a straight line and points were assigned based on how far you drove, kind of like Enduro for the Atari 2600. Now in addition to driving, the game also threw in enemy cars out to stop you. The player's car was also equipped with a ridiculous top speed, giving the gameplay a very fast-paced and dangerous feel. The original arcade game featured a steering wheel and a gas pedal to make the driving motion feel a little bit more authentic, and also the steering wheel was really cool. It was great when the game came out, and it definitely lended itself to the game's popularity. However, nowadays, it makes it somewhat difficult to port the original arcade version of the game. For example, there's a Game Boy Advance game out there with Spy Hunter and Super Sprint, and in order to simulate the pedal, you have to press down on the key for a second before accelerating. I could never quite get used to it. It felt a little phony baloney to me. Now, as far as the home versions of Spy Hunter go, the best ones were the ones that came out for the early consoles. The ZX Spectrum, the ColecoVision, and the Atari 2600 all had ports, but the version I'm going to focus on today was Spy Hunter on the NES. Now, considering that this game has roots in 1983 arcades, where high scores are king, it follows the old formula. Get as many points as you can. The road is never ending, and your score is ever climbing. Among all the cars on the road, you only want to attack the enemy cars. Destroying civilians results in your score halting temporarily. Now, thankfully, the enemy cars are distinguishable because of their dark blue color. Dark blue is evil. As time goes on, the conditions of the road change, the roads split, narrow, swerve like a snake, and get covered in snow. Every once in a while, you see these little off-ramps which lead to segments where you drive a boat. Now, I thought the boat was a neat idea, but it makes it much more difficult, so it seems like you can get more points by skipping them, which is a shame, because the variety seems to otherwise fit the game very well. According to Wikipedia, a sequence featuring the player flying a helicopter was also planned by the developers but was omitted due to lack of memory. It's incredibly easy to die in Spy Hunter, so to counteract that, rather than having a set number of lives, you're given a time limit. So you have a certain amount of time to drive with unlimited crashes. Then after the time is up, the next crash is game over. Or depending on how much you've managed to score, you may have an extra life or two left. There was, however, a code which gave you a little more firepower. At the title screen, if you held down right, select, A and B, and then press start, then you would be given all of the special weapons available, and when the time ran out, you also got a fistful of extra lives. Now, apart from the code, the NES version was also somewhat buggy. After you died, if you didn't press anything, you could just drive in a straight line through the dirt, sometimes for very long periods of time without dying. Wikipedia says, if the car's tires are slashed near the top of the screen, the car will spin off the top and reappear at the bottom. Then you'll be indestructible, though your weapons won't work. I haven't seen this happen. There was a Super Spy Hunter game for the NES, but that game was originally released under the name Battle Formula and was designed by Sunsoft, not Bally Midway. In my research, I also found a movie listing for Spy Hunter on IMDb.com. They show it coming out in 2012. Now, apparently the film was supposed to be a Hollywood big-budget film for The Rock sometime around 2005. Maybe there's some connection between that and the PS2 Xbox title Spy Hunter Nowhere to Run. Now, that was going to be developed by none other than Hollywood butt nugget Paul W.S. Anderson, the jolly chap which directed the wonderful cinema that is the Resident Evil movie series. In 2008, W.S. Anderson left the project because the script wasn't strong enough. Wow. Now, I read that Warner Brothers bought Midway about a year ago, and in doing so they inherited the movie rights and are putting the movie back into development. Now, it wouldn't be hard to make a movie true to the original game. Just make a fast car, red trucks that carry guns, and throw the theme song from Peter Gunn in there somewhere. I'm sure the Warner Brothers will be farting out the film in about a year or so. Now, I'm thinking about this movie, and I see it in my head being more or less modeled as the PS2 game that came out a while ago named Spy Hunter. Not the one with The Rock, but the other one. You guys remember that game? I didn't think it was too bad, but it felt a lot like, well, imagine this.
Mappy 360! Yeah, it's Mappy! Namco's classic Mappy on the Xbox 360!
Yeah, that's kind of what Spy Hunter felt like for me on the PS2. The classic Spy Hunter was a great game. It was exceedingly slick and really fun. It was one of those games that made me cool for a few seconds while I was playing it. And as a dumpy, jerky high school kid, those moments were precious few. Yes, Spy Hunter is a classic. The NES version is timeless, and it sells for $4 to $5 on eBay. Or you can grab it for the Wii Virtual Console at about the same price. This is Critical Failure for Tiger Claw TV, signing off.